is a peaceful and tolerant religion, and the acts of these people are wholly contrary to the teachings of the Quran.
Its teachings are good and peaceful, and those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
No religion condones the murder of innocent men, women, and children.
Well, coming up, one of our next guests says that President Clinton, President Bush, and Tony Blair, they're all wrong when it comes to Islam. The question, is Islam a religion of peace that is being perverted by extremists? Well, a new film says no, it's the religion that is extreme. Joining me for a fair and balanced discussion from L.A. is the director of Islam, What the West Needs to Know, Gregory Davis. And here in New York is Imam Shamsi Ali. Welcome to you both. Gregory Davis, first to you. Make your case. We heard from President Bush, particularly after September 11th. He was very strong on that message that the terrorists had perverted what is a peaceful religion, Islam. You say he's wrong.
Yes, we hear that phrase a lot, that Islam is a religion of peace and that it has been hijacked by extremists. But there's been very little analysis of what Islam is, its sources, its origins, and its doctrines. And that's what we set out to do in our DVD. Islam is, in fact, more a system of government or political ideology than it is a personal faith or religion in the sense that we understand it in the West. In the Quran and in the precedents set by Muhammad, it is obligatory on the Muslim collective, the Ummah, to spread the rule of Sharia law, the law of Allah, over the earth by force. This is what Muhammad did in the latter part of his career, engaging in various acts of violence, including wars of aggression, political assassination, and at least on one occasion, the beheading of between 600 and 900 men of the Bani Qurayza tribe in the Islamic year 5, as attested to by the canonical Islamic sources.
Okay,
so
Gregory Davis. Gregory Davis, do me a favor, hold it right there because we want to have a discussion here. But real quick, tell us your background. Do you have a background in theology or anything like that? Where are you coming from in terms of your own experience?
I have a PhD from Stanford that I received in 2003. I've written a book on Islam called A Religion of Peace, Islam's War Against the World. Okay. And I have studied it for the past several years.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I want to bring in the Imam Shamsi Ali. Okay, you heard what Greg Davis said, and this film is researched. He said, according to his studies in the Quran, obligatory to spread Sharia law through force. Is that true?
First of all, I've seen the movie this morning for a short while, and I think there are two things. Number one is the whole ideas put together into the movie is kind of upside down. And number two, it's all quotes that have been quoted, probably quoted outside of the context. And there is no such an obligation on any Muslim to spread out Sharia. Sharia is basically a daily life of any Muslim. So I wake up in the morning praying to my God, cleansing myself. This is all Sharia, because when we talk about Sharia, we're talking about Islam. Islam is about how to live our life appropriately. Yeah.
Let's say Sharia law is, some want to practice it, and that's their right perhaps, but the part that Gregory just mentioned, the obligation to spread Sharia law by force.
There is no anywhere, either historically speaking or from the content of Islam itself, there is not anywhere we find that Islam obligates Muslims to spread out Sharia by force, especially. So I think this claim itself is false and it's not true, and we don't find any justification from the Holy Quran.
Gregory Davis, for the sake of discussion, let's say you're right, that this is true, that there's a lot to what you're talking about. What good is it, tell us, to spread this? I mean, President Bush's message, I think, was one that might have been helpful, particularly in the days of after 9/11, even if he was somewhat inaccurate, because most Islamists, most people who practice this religion, you would agree, are not terrorists.
Well, that's of course true, but I don't believe we're going to make any progress at any level by representing Islam or anything else falsely. We should speak frankly and truthfully about it, and that is what is being hindered by people like the President, people from across the political spectrum, when they take refuge in bromides such as Islam is a religion of peace. The Imam has affirmed the opposite of what we say in our movie, but he has not presented any sort of specifics. The Quran, Surah 9, for example, one of the last revealed and the most authoritative, explicitly enjoins believers to wage war against non-Muslims. And this is precisely what Muhammad did and his successors. This is how Islam spread to North Africa, the Middle East, and Persia, which had not been Muslim.
Mr. Davis, I'd like to get the Imam's response.
Can I respond to that? First of all, when we read about any holy books, we have to acknowledge that all holy books talk about war. And unless we understand those verses in a appropriate context, that might be fully out of context. And so when the Surah, chapter number 9 of the Holy Quran talks about war, it was in the context of war that was Prophet Muhammad engaged with. And it's not in its normal situations. But Islam is very clear. When we come to the war, it says that kill those who kill you, fight against those who fight you. So there is nowhere in Islam that really encourage us to be offensive in this regard.
We are going to have to leave it there. Imam Shamsi Ali, thank you for coming in. Gregory Davis, you're the Director of Islam, What the West Needs to Know. Thank you very much for your time. Good to see you both, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.